Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Single Track Samurai here. Today, I'm heading out to pedal through Lake George State Forest, then Alexander Wilderness, making my way to a place that the locals called Freak Creek. When I get to Freak Creek, I'm going to blow up for the first time attempt to put my bike on it, and then pack raft it down Spring Creek, Alexander Spring Creek. I wanted to put that segment of river or creek in the Cross Florida this year, but since I hadn't done it, I'd done most of the other stuff. I hadn't done that. I kind of felt that it was more responsible for me to leave it alone and then see it on my own and see if it's worth it. So I don't know what's going to happen today. It's 9:20 a.m. I'm about to start my first dirt segment. It's pretty much going to be dirt from here with a couple of little road connectors. My goal is to be on the water by 12, and I figure it's probably a 4-hour paddle. So I think I thought of everything. I'm pretty nervous because I don't consider myself Aquaman by any means, but life is about challenging your comfort zones. But at the same time, I don't want to lose my life because I'm challenging my comfort zones. So I feel prepared, so let's do the damn thing. And just for shits and giggles, here's the setup. Got some makeshifter bags in the front, K-Lite Ultra up top, aka Johnny 5. My GPS is still charging off of my dyno hub. It's also wood smoke with PackRaft on the rear, PFD up top. I finally, because I have a huge, amazing bag from J-Packs, I was able to load everything into the rear pack and strap my PFD to the top, and then some Voila straps, or whatever they call that, to use the structure of the paddles and the other two pieces of the paddle, the center pieces, to create like a rack system off of my ultralight Cuban fiber J-Packs bag. So I'm pretty proud of it because it gets the weight off my back. So I figure that if I ever take it bike packing, I'll put my shelter in the front, and then I'll just put my clothes in the back, because in my backpack, and wear a backpack, you just kind of have to, unless, even if I had a frame bag, I would never put all my clothes in it. It's not that I carry that much clothes, but it just would never happen. Some spare layers, that's probably the smartest way to run it, instead of putting, nearly 7 pounds of stuff on my back, or with the PFD, probably 10 pounds of stuff. Instead, putting, my 5 pounds of clothing, which is soft and squishy and feels cozy. So, because no way I look at it, if I'm going to pack raft, I'm going to have to wear a backpack.
Give them heaven on earth for a hell of a check, yeah, whichever come first. Blessings on blessings on blessings. Look at my life, man, that's lessons on lessons on lessons. I treat the beat like it's a reverend. I tell the truth like, Father, forgive me, these are all my confessions. Man, this wasn't luck, it was destined. I done lost homies who been with me since Ed and Eddie, who flip like a... Life is amazing, it is what it should be. Been here for 10, but I feel like a rookie. I tell her look up, cause it's snowing in Tootsie. Booked for 3 years, man, you can't even book me. It's me and Lil Baby, the shit going crazy. Weezy produced it, and Weezy F made me, and she held it down, so she got a Mercedes. Your money records, the army, the navy. Know my word, and do it around him and say that we all been cursed. I know he walks the earth, but it's money to get, bitches to hit. Yeah, zeros to flip, temptation is, yeah, first on my list. I can wave, get you killed quick. Shoot you in your bed like you're red, the Mexico and all life to after like my whole life. Cause I'm always living for that whole life.
It's like a lot of bird noise here. It's actually pretty sweet. This is, animals go south for the winter. Birds go south for the winter. That's a legit thing. And if it stays temperate in Central Florida, which it can get pretty hot, cold, then they stay up here more, and you get to experience like see lots of flocks of birds kind of fly together and hear lots of birds like you do now. Pretty sweet. All right, so I started my float. It was about 25 miles to the launch spot. It took about as long as expected. What I didn't expect was rainbow people. I've heard of them, never have encountered them in the wild, and I mean, they were naked, swimming in the water. Unfortunately, it was a dude. But they were very nice. I mean, nobody was rude or impolite, but I didn't want to launch there because I'll tell you why. What kind of raft is that? How much did it cost? Where'd you get it from? What are you doing? Oh, that sounds crazy. You know, all these questions that I would have to answer, so I wasn't in the mood for that. So I kind of pushed myself down the river a bit via Bluff Landing Campground, and I found another launch spot. Still had to have a conversation with one guy who offered me a Nutter Butter. I politely declined. By my guesses, I am probably maybe 2 miles down the river. I still got 5 more to go, I guess. If I'm 2 down, then I got 5 to go. It's been pretty scary so far. What I didn't anticipate was trees to be down in the way. And then my load was a little unbalanced, so my rotor was literally floating in the water. Not my rotor, but my fork, my caliper, this part. It's okay. I knew this swim hole was here, and I kind of planned for that, so I stopped here, have a snack, fix that. Well, some room for improvement, but so far so good. The problem is the raft is so twitchy that I really can't film while I'm boating. At least I don't feel confident enough yet, and the path is so narrow and so technical that it's taking a lot of work, but overall pretty easy. Okay, all right. I'll try to do an update later or get some more footage. See that kind of stuff that's coming up? I gotta figure that out. It's all right. I'm getting pretty good at it though. But this is a super techie section. Kind of spinning right now. This thing spins quick. It's okay though, you kind of just go with the flow. I think I'm gonna make it even if I don't pedal. I've got a tree coming up there, see? Down in the water you'll see the trees. See that one coming right there?
Starlight to star bright, the freestyle mind.
I was aiming for a spot called Dexter Point, which is, if you see on the map that I'm showing on the screen, it's supposed to give you the ability to link up to this road called Dexter Road, which would have allowed me to go north and then link up to part of the Cross Florida route, Bluffton Road, and make my way back towards home. I found Dexter Point, and amazingly enough, there was actually a stone marker there, which I thought was wild. I backed my raft in there, I got out, and I started looking for the road, but I couldn't find it. Apparently, the water levels had gotten real high from all the rain we had last year, and it literally looked like some sort of giant being had taken like pine trees and oak trees and just threw them all over the place, like there was no trail to be found. So with patience, I probably could have searched, but here's the catch. It was getting dark and it was getting late and I was running out of daylight, and even though I had lights and I was prepared to ride at night, I really didn't feel comfortable being on the water in the dark. I had already like really pushed my comfort zone, like paddling that boat through across the big lakes. It was pretty wild because there was a bit of wind, so like I would have to like aim for a spot that I would pick on the horizon and paddle my butt off to get across before any big boats came through. And when those boats would come through, some people were very polite and they would slow down and actually try not to create too much wake, but some people really didn't care. After I couldn't find Dexter Road at Dexter Point, I just decided to get back in the boat and paddle 2 more miles upstream to the end of St. John's River Road, which I know there's a park there and there's a landing there. And that's what I did. I paddled my butt off. I was watching the trooper who was on the water, like pulling people over and giving them tickets. And he kept looking at me, and finally, as it started getting closer to dark, he came over to me and he's like, "Hey, where are you headed?" And I was literally like 20 feet away from the landing. One of the mistakes I made on this ride was I didn't take enough water. I did have a water filter, but I wasn't in the mood to stick my filter in the lake water and filter that out. It just did not seem appealing to me. So I kind of just rationed the water I had, and I was just kind of prepared to either ride off course to get some water so I could pedal, the 8 miles home, the 10 miles home, or just suck it up and tough it out. So I told him where I was going to land, and he's like, "Oh, okay, so you're almost out of the water. Okay, and where are you going after that?" And I'm like, "Well, then I'm going home." And I'm sure like this trooper or ranger or whatever he was has never seen a bicycle on a boat like that. So that setup probably had his mind blown. And he asked me if I needed anything, and he's like, "Would you like a cold water?" And I was like, "Yes." So thank you to whoever that guy was, because he saved me having to go off route to get some water. So I was pretty stoked about that. I took the water, got out of the water, broke down the boat, built the bike back up, and I was getting swarmed by mosquitoes. I totally forgot to bring bug spray. That was a mistake. And I was getting swarmed, so I was having to rush. But I finally kind of just threw it all together, strapped the boat back on the bike, and then took off like a bat out of hell. And I got home probably like 2 hours after dark. So overall, the trip was a success. So what I learned was when you put your bike on the raft, make sure the ground is level so that you can set it up balanced and level. I also learned that I want to kind of turn my handlebars the other way so that the fork sits up higher naturally. But other than that, I found the whole biking and pack rafting experience to be super rewarding, a ton of fun, and I am looking forward to doing more of that in the future. And looking forward to seeing if any of the riders who are going west to east will take me up on the Spring Creek paddle to Tick Island. That's the recommended way to do it because you're going with the flow of the river. That's one thing you don't want to do on a pack raft is fight the current. It's just not as efficient as a canoe would be. I guess it probably has something to do with the way the bottom of the boat is shaped. I'm not a huge boatman, but I'm getting better at it. And I'm having a lot of fun with that Kokopelli roguelike pack raft. So that was it. I hope to see some riders this year sign up for the pack raft option in the Cross Florida individual time trial in December. All right, thanks guys, and thanks for watching.